Hey everyone, we've got two new Player of the Week selections on eFootball today. I'm going to be reviewing the regular worldwide selection in this video, and then shortly afterwards I'll be doing the Champions League Player of the Week selection. Before I go into the review of today's regular worldwide selection, a few little bits of good news. In the point store, they've added another player, unthinkable, decent one as well, Vinícius Júnior. So that's good news. And when they released the update, there was a Fernando Torres pack available in Japan only. They have, where is it? They've added it for us, so for other countries. I don't know if it's all countries or just the UK or what, but Fernando Torres is in there. 500 coins it'll cost you, so there's another bit of good news. And even more good news, if we go to events, as you can see, oh, where am I going? Co-op is back, yay! Got penalty shootout as well, and if all that is not enough, the best news of all, more smart assist. Yay! Anyway, let's have a look at the regular worldwide player of the week selection. So, as always, I'll put timestamps in the description for each player. If there's a particular player you want to hear about, click in the description. There'll be a link to take you straight to them. All 5 stars this week. We'll start with the lowest rated. How is he the lowest rated? It is Matteo Gabbia. So, when you produce an outstanding defensive performance at centre-back against one of the best teams in Europe, you're kind of alright defensively. Fair enough. So, Gabbia has had a decent boost from his GP card, to be fair. It's the first feature version of Gabbia that we've had. It is a booster. We'll activate the booster in a moment. But yeah, he's kind of just a decent centre-back. Compared to his GP card, he's a little bit worse at defending. I mean, really? I don't know. I did say when I did my predictions that my fear was that they would focus purely on the fact that he scored a goal and they would forget the fact that he was defensively excellent against one of the best teams in Europe. But yeah, there we go. So he's a bit worse at defending than his GP card, but he's had a nice boost to his pace, to his passing, a bit more on his physicals. Skill-wise, they've added man marking, interception and fighting spirit. So we've got a pretty decent looking selection for centre-back. Heading and aerial superiority, man marking, interception, block, acrobatic clearance. I think it's only really sliding tackle is missing, to be honest, so it's a pretty good selection of skills. Is he good as a centre-back? I mean, there's nothing really bad there. The defensive engagement's a bit low. Some people would prefer a bit more aggression. Defensive awareness and tackling are all right, but I'd like him to be a bit higher. So like I say, he's not brilliant defensively. This is the lowest rated card in the pack. The pace is decent enough for a centre back. Jumping, physical, 6'1". He's kind of just all right across the board. Just not brilliant. I think he's just one of these cards that if the Italian League challenge pops up and I've got this guy in form, he's probably going to be a decent option, but I can't really say a great deal beyond that. If we activate the booster, what do we get? So even more with the aerials and physicals, good. Jumping, physical, heading, and finishing. Interesting. I'm not sure that goes towards his heading ability because it was a header he scored, but yeah, honestly, it's a nice boost on the regular Gabbia. If you're an AC Milan fan, I think you'd be pretty pleased if you get this card. But I think they've done him dirty. I think especially with these defensive attributes down the middle, he deserved to be much better than that. So it's a bit disappointing they didn't make him better, but they have improved him from his GP card. It is the first time we've had a decent, featured version of him. They've added some skills, so he's now got a strong section of skills for a centre back. But it's not a brilliant card. It's just a bit meh, really. I really feel like it deserved to be a lot better. So a bit disappointing, really, unfortunately. And next we have Jordan Teze from Monaco. So he scored a goal from right back. No face scan. I imagine he'll get one soon enough. We've had a few versions of him. Normally he's a destroyer. They made him an attacking fullback. He can still play as a centre back, which is what he normally is. We had a nominate and contract version, which was better than this one. That was a centre-back destroyer. If you train that one, because it was trainable, the nominate and contract one, if you train that one for a right-back, like this one, it's comparable, but probably not quite as good, and it doesn't have as many skills. They have added some skills to this one. They've added first-time shot, not sure how important that is, but through passing is a nice one, and they've added blocker as well. We're missing interception. Wherever you play this guy, I mean, as a centre-back, he's badly lacking in defensive skills, interception, man marking, aerial superiority, but at right back, interception is still very important. You can live without the other ones defensively, but interception will be needed. It would be nice if you have pinpoint crossing as an attacking fullback, but through passing is a nice one for them to add. Yeah, we've had one of the kind of old school Eredivisie Player of the Month cards ages ago. That was a bit worse than this one. Not a million miles away, but a bit worse. And then comparing this one to his GP card, again, the GP card's a centre-back destroyer, but as much as it's better as a centre-back, because that's what it's meant for, and it's trainable, and you can't train this one. If you train the GP one for right-back, it's worse mainly in the technical area. Elsewhere, it's not a million miles away, but technically is the big difference. That's where he's had the biggest boost from his GP card, if he did train his GP card to try and make it a right-back like this one. And of course, less skills in this one, so... yeah, it's a good version when compared to other versions. He's got decent pace. Physical contact's good for fullback. Balance is not great. I'd like a bit more on that balance, certainly. Stamina's fine. Defensively, again, you know, you might want your fullbacks to be more aggressive than that, but outside of that, he's hitting the 80 mark with your game plan boost for the other three defensive attributes there. Passing, low pass is pretty good for fullback. Lofted, a bit dodgy without pinpoint crossing, so I don't think he's going to be great at crossing on the ball, and they do this a lot with fullbacks. He's not great on the ball. He's not going to feel comfortable on the ball with these technical attributes, and also with the balance being pretty poor, so be very careful with this guy on the ball if you get him. He's going to be pretty uncomfortable. But yeah, you basically got a guy who, you know, I mean, he can still play centre-back like he normally does, but he's not good enough in terms of the skills or the attributes. But as a right-back, be very careful on the ball, but apart from that, he's okay. He's not amazing, but apart from the on-the-ball attributes there and the balance, he's got some pretty decent attributes there. He's not amazing, but he's very usable. It's just a shame in terms of the skills. He's lacking interception there, and to an extent, pinpoint crossing. So, yeah, he's a bit lacking in one or two areas, unfortunately. He's certainly usable if you really need a right-back option, but lacking interception primarily, and the balance and other attributes there. There are a few real weaknesses there, but if you can work around the weaknesses, then he could be a usable one. And next we have our latest version of Dries Mertens. So we have had a bunch of different versions of Dries Mertens over the course of time. We have another whole player version. He's got less positions than he had in the past, I guess, with the fact he's getting a lot older. He's not got the pace he used to. He's not getting used that wide so much now. You can play this guy AMF or SS. There was a Showtime version of Mertens, which was obviously better than this one. In fact, I've just noticed in his positions they've added centre midfield as semi-proficient. Excellent. It's just a shame you can't position train these cards, so that's completely pointless. But yeah, the Showtime version of this guy was obviously better. There was an old Player of the Month creative playmaker card from quite a long time ago. That was slightly better than this one, mainly with more speed. There was a recent Player of the Month from the Turkish League that was a whole player that had more positions. Slightly better, I'd say, on the whole. Not a major difference in stats, but that one had through passing. This one does not have through passing. That's a big miss, unfortunately, on a guy who's going to play in these two positions. So we're lacking through passing. There was a trainable that was a deep line forward as well, and that was kind of similar level to this, but some stats higher, some a bit lower. Pretty similar on the whole, though. But yeah, in terms of the skills, there's no change to the skills. The GP card doesn't have through passing either. So that's a bit of a shame. We've got first time shot there, accurate finishing, long range curler. So he's got some shooting skills. Self control's nice. One touch pass, even if he doesn't have through passing. And he's a super sub as well. Compared to his GP card, attribute wise, this one's a little bit worse technically, but elsewhere he's better. A bit of a boost on his speed as you'd expect. On the whole, it's a pretty good boost really. I think this is just a card where if you've not previously got a highlight card of Mertens and you like him, you'll be very pleased if you get this one. You know, he's got unwavering form, a bit more speed than he normally does. He is good technically, even if he's not quite as good as he can be. Certainly previous cards have been better in some areas. He can shoot with those shooting skills and the finishing at 85. The passing's a bit let down. I think he's probably more of an SS than an AMF. AMF, you rely more on his passing. Without through passing, without better passing attributes, I think you're better putting this guy at SS. The attacking awareness for a whole player is over 80, so that's good. Finishing 85 with the shooting skills, pretty tidy on the ball. Not the quickest, but if you don't mind that, I think technically he could be pretty useful as an SS, getting into good position, scoring goals for you. And like I said, if you're a fan of Mertens, which a lot of people are who play this game, then yeah, if you've not got a good version, you could be very happy with this one. But there are previous versions that are comparable in different ways. So it's an interesting version of Mertens. I think that the lack of through passing is the big loss, really. That's a bit of a shame. But apart from that, plenty of reasons why I could be pleased to get this card. And now we have Jonathan Rowe, young English player from Marseille. I'm not familiar with this guy. He doesn't have a face scan. I imagine we'll get one at some point. So, wide forward, left or right. prolific winger. And we've not had a previous feature version of this guy. It's the first time we've had a feature version of him. So we're just going to compare him to his GP card. And if you compare him to his GP card, he has had a reduction in speed, acceleration, balance, stamina, attacking awareness, dribbling, and tight possession. So yeah, most of the important attributes on a winger, he's worse than normal. Okay, but he's had a bit of a boost to kicking power, ball control, passing, and curl. And he's had a nice boost to his finishing. So he has had a few attributes boosted. Certainly the finishing has had a really nice boost. But a whole bunch of important attributes are slightly down from his GP card. I mean, makes sense of that. I don't know. But skill-wise, we have had a bit of a boost with the skills. So we've got long-range curler, long-range shooting, interception, and super sub. I think the only skill his GP card has got is outside curler, if I'm not mistaken. I'm just going to double check that because I'm not 100% sure I got that right. Yeah, so just double check that on eFootball Hub. So outside curler is the only skill he's got in the GP card. So they've added long range curler, long range shooting, interception, super sub. Interception's a bit random for a wide forward, but fair enough. And a super sub as well. So yeah, if you forget the weirdness of the way they've messed around with his attributes, he's still got decent pace. He's still pretty good on the ball, pretty decent apart from the tight possession. Balance is decent. Attacking awareness is kind of okay. Passing's not great. Be careful with his passing. He doesn't have any passing skills either. Finishing at 82, curl 80, kicking power 84. You've got long range curler, long range shooting. So when you cut inside from the left flank with this guy onto his favoured right foot, you should have a pretty decent long range curler. I wouldn't play him on the right. I mean, you've got outside curler actually. Maybe you could play him on the right, cut inside and use the outside curler to your advantage. But I think he's going to be best coming off the left flank, to be honest, onto his right foot. Have a decent shot and him as a super sub as well. But yeah, on the whole, he's all right. I think he's kind of usable, but I don't think anyone's going to get excited about this card unless you're a Marseille fan, to be honest. I don't think it's a particularly great card. Yes, he's got a bit of pace. He could be decent on the ball, especially as a super sub, and get a few goals for you coming off that left flank. But unless you get him as your free spin and you've not got that many options on the wing, I don't think too many people are going to be that excited to get this card, really. Next up is Pablo Torre. So, young Barcelona midfielder. He has previously been a creative playmaker. He's had a few feature versions, always been creative playmaker. He's now box to box. They've changed his play style for the first time. They've given him centre midfield, fully proficient, and they've also made him semi-proficient at defensive midfield. So again, we've got a semi-proficient position on the card that you can't position train. Hooray! Yeah, so basically, the previous versions of this guy, as I say, creative playmaker, he's always been attacking midfield as well. He's not had centre midfield fully proficient before. And all his previous cards are a bit better with the attacking attributes, but this one's a bit better defensively. And compared to his GP card, big boost on his stamina and the defensive attributes. A little bit less dribbling and tight possession. Tiny bit off his passing as well, but on the whole, they've just kind of made him a bit more of a well-rounded midfielder, to be honest. It's a decent boost on the whole from his GP card. So, yeah, we look at his skills as well. They've added double touch. The dribblers will be pleased about that. Long range shooting and track back. So, if you're going to use this guy as a centre mid box to box, interception is missing. That's a bit of a shame. But I think most people would probably still use this guy as an attacking mid. Certainly as a very attack-minded centre mid. You're not going to rely on this guy to do a lot of the defensive work if he's not got more defensive strength. Certainly with the skills, but yeah, going forward, long range shooting's been added there, and with acrobatic finishing, one touch pass, through passing, pinpoint crossing, outside curls, a nice one to have. It's gonna be nice on the ball, fairly nice anyway. Decent passing. Yeah, it's a decent little card. This, I think, mainly for Barca fans, this will be a pretty nice one. Like I say, as a very attack-minded centre mid, he could be decent. But if you put him at attacking mid, the attacking where is hitting 80 with the game plan boost. Decent enough on the ball, decent passing. Yeah, it's kind of a decent card. I don't think it's amazing, you know. I don't see any attributes here that are going to get to the 90 mark. Maybe ball control, actually. We'll probably get 90 with the game plan boost. But outside of that, yeah, it's a decent card. It's just not an amazing one. So it's an interesting version of Pablo Torre. If you're a Barca fan, you'll probably be pretty pleased if you get this one. It's a bit different to previous versions of him, but it's nothing too special, unfortunately. And now we have our first ever version of James Maddison. that isn't a creative playmaker. They've made him a whole player. So, and normally an attacking midfielder, again, they've switched him to centre midfield, like with Pablo Torre. So it's kind of more of an all-round kind of a build they've given him. And again, they've made him semi-proficient at defensive midfield on a card that you can't position train. Excellent. Thank you so much for that, Konami. Yeah, previously, as I mentioned, he's always an attack midfielder. His passing is a little bit down. But of course, we've got a bit more on the defensives and physicals. Whether you're pleased about that trade-off or not, I don't know if it's worth it. I think, again, most people are probably going to use this guy as an attacking mid or maybe as a wide midfielder, albeit he is slow. So, yeah, I'm not sure many people would use this guy out wide. He's probably going to be best in attacking midfielder still. Got a bit more finishing and balance than he usually has. You know, I've had a bunch of versions of Maddison. Nice boost in his stamina there. Let's have a look at his skills. So we've lost acrobatic finishing, gamesmanship. That's a bit unrealistic. He's always got gamesmanship. We've lost weighted pass. That's a bit of a shame. But they've added chip shot control. Does that even work yet? Is it still broken? I'm not sure. Track back and interception. I think the key one there is interception. That's the best one they've added. So that does make him a lot more usable as a centre midfielder. But again, I mean, all he's got above 70 there is aggression at the 80 mark. The rest of his defensives are weak. Not much physical contact there. Yes, he's got interception, but do you want him centre midfield in the middle of the park? Do you want him having any defensive responsibility? I don't think I would even consider playing him there. I think for me, you've got to still use him as an attacking mid. Look at the rest of the skills he's got. You know he's got the passing skills. One-touch passing, through passing. He's got outside curler, pinpoint crossing, long-range curler. I would have thought he'd have had long-range shooting, but no, he doesn't. I don't think he's ever had that, but yeah, he's got a decent selection of skills in terms of end product. He's more of a creator than a scorer, but the finishing's decent at 77. The passing, I think that low pass should hit 90 with the game plan boost. Ball control and tight possession will as well. Attacking where it's already at 80 on the whole player, that's good. So yeah, and good balance at 90 before the game plan boost. So more suitable to centre mid than he normally is, but I think realistically most people would still see this guy as an attacking mid, and I think most people would also agree he's probably not quick enough to play out wide. And before I forget, he is a booster. Let's just show what the booster does. So, okay, so more on his acceleration. He doesn't always have that much acceleration. That's good. And a bit more physical contact. So that's going past 70 with the game plan boost now. Nice. Even more aggressive than normal. And then stamina. That's going past 90 with the game plan boost now. So, okay. It's an interesting version of Maddison. Like I said, I think it's definitely still best suited to playing attacking midfield with that whole player playing style as well. That makes it a very interesting version of him. He's got the end product they can certainly create for you. They might have focused on more of an all-round build rather than boosting him up technically, but he's still good technically, getting him on the ball, playing passes, and with the attacking awareness and the whole player playing style, he's now going to be a lot more effective at kind of bursting forward and getting to good attacking positions. So yeah, I think it's a pretty interesting version of Maddison. If you're a fan of this guy, I think this is probably going to be a card that you quite like the look of. And now our goalkeeper, Dave, is back. So, David De Gea at Fiorentina. Good version of him, to be honest. We've had a bunch of versions of De Gea over time. They've all been Man U versions. There have been a couple of Player of the Week versions of De Gea. Pretty similar to this one, you look at the goalie attributes. What's interesting is that this one at 93 is the lowest rated of the three. I think the previous two are, I think, 94 or 95. And when you look at the goalie attributes, you're thinking, well, they're pretty similar. So it's a bit strange that they're higher rated, those two previous ones. But the one noticeable difference that I can see is the distribution. He's significantly worse with his low and lofted pass than those two previous Player of the Week ones. Whether you consider that significant, I mean, if you just punt the ball downfield every time you get it with your keeper, you're probably not going to notice that. But if you do often play back passes and you like your keeper to be able to, to be able to pass the ball, that might be a bit of a shame for you. But in terms of the core goalkeeping attributes, I would say he's pretty similar to the two previous Player of the Week versions. And he's pretty comparable to the trainable ones. There have been, I think, 3 or 4 previous trainable ones from like Man U packs and so on. Pretty similar. So, yeah, it's a pretty good version of De Gea compared to the GB card. The two attributes they've really boosted, not massively, but significantly, are the reflexes and catching. And on the whole, with the awareness, the reflexes and reach all hitting 90 with the game plan boost. I mean, reflexes are already over 90. Catching and parrying and getting into the kind of mid-80s. It's a good goalie card. Of course, he can't jump. We know what they do with Player of the Week keepers for no logical reason whatsoever. But low punt, high punt, long throw, really good core goalkeeping attributes. Yeah, it's another good version of De Gea. It's pretty similar to the previous ones. but I've got a previous one, Player of the Week, and I'm very happy with it. If I get this one, I'll probably keep them both, because the one I've got is a Man U one. I can use that in the English League Challenge. I just want to give me another option in the Italian League Challenge. So yeah, it's a decent version of De Gea, and it's a good goalkeeper card. And would you believe it? We finally have a Viktor Gyökeres Player of the Week card. It took them long enough. So there's the good news. The bad news is it's not a brilliant version of him. So we had a version of Victor in I think it was in either a Legend box or a Showtime box, trainable one, which was better than this one, quite significantly. I think the overall goes 2 or 3 higher. So definitely not as good as that one if you didn't get that one. But yeah, it's a decent version of it compared to his GP card. I mean, on the ball, he's what they added, about 4 or 5 to his on the ball attribute, so he's a bit better on the ball, so that's nice. Passing's a bit better, but yeah, awareness is down a bit, finishing is up a bit, strange. But yeah, on the whole, it's not massively boosted from his GP card. It's a decent boost, but like I say, the main thing, yes, they've increased his finishing a bit. He's a bit better on the ball, bit better on his passing, but why put his awareness down? It's frustrating, but either way, you've got a goal poacher with a little bit of pace about him, but he's physically strong. I personally would suggest he should be a fox in the box. I think the attributes are better suited to the fox in the box playing style. The awareness, like I say, is frustrating. I'd like it to be a bit higher, but he's a bit more confident on the ball. For a physical guy, these attributes are fine on the ball. Passing could be worse. It's still not brilliant. Finishing's decent, 86. It's a shame they couldn't nudge that at least one higher so it could go to 90 with the game plan boost, but it is what it is. Unwavering form. And looking at his skills, what they've done, they've added a long range curler and outside curler. So a couple of decent ones to add on a striker. We've got heading there, acrobatic finishing. Jumping's only 71, 6'1", so he's not going to be amazing in the air. He's not going to be dominant in the air, but he could get the end of some crosses and score some headers for you. Most importantly, first time shot, and then we've got acrobatic finishing. Of course, they've added long range curler. Yeah, so we've got most of the core kind of centre forward skills really. I always say on the goal poacher, I want more pace. But I think for a lot of people, I know a lot of people have been waiting for a Player of the Week version of Gyökeres. I don't think you'll mind if he's lacking 1 or 2 on certain attributes. You're just going to be pleased to get a good version of him. So if you looked at it in isolation, like I say, the awareness is a little bit low for me. I'd like a bit more pace on him. I think ultimately his attributes are better suited to the fox in the box playing style. But I think most people will just be pleased we finally got him in Player of the Week. So it's not an amazing card, but it's a Player of the Week Gyökeres, and for that reason alone, it's pretty pleasing for a lot of people, I would imagine. And speaking of nerfing attacking awareness, we've got another card when they've done that. So we've got Darwin Núñez. We have had a lot of versions of Darwin Núñez. Goal poacher again, as he always is. Centre forward. Weaker foot's gone up a little bit. So that's interesting. So we've had a trainable version of the Núñez that was in one of those legend boxes that was better than this. We've had 3, I think I make it 3 previous Player of the Week cards that I think are slightly better than this. And as I mentioned, attacking awareness is down by 6. Acceleration is down by 10. What else have we lost? Balance is down by 9. So we're not looking great compared to his GP card. Stamina is down by 5. Okay, so where did the boost come from? We've got a bit more ball control, got a bit more dribbling, and they've improved his defensive attributes a bit. Yes. Great. Okay, so I don't know, what have they done to the skills? Are they giving him one touch pass? Cool. So, okay, we've still got the most important ones. He's got a good selection right out of the box. First time shot, long range go, long range shooting. He's got heading. It's going to be alright from crosses. Pretty similar to Gyökeres, to be honest. He's not going to be dominant in the air, but he can score a few headers for you. He's a physical guy. Bit more pace than Gyökeres. Bit less attacking awareness. Finishing 87, that's good. So he's hitting 90 for his finishing with a good enough manager when you get your game plan boost. Still not brilliant on the ball. That tight possession stinks. His balance stinks. I don't know why I mean, I can understand when they're kind of making a different version of play. He plays a bit differently to the way he normally does. Some attributes will go up, other attributes will go down. I get that in general, but for a centre forward to take away 10 from acceleration, 9 from balance, 6 from attacking awareness, I mean, what is he doing in Player of the Week if he's that much worse at those key attributes than he normally is? I just don't understand it, but yeah, I don't know. But to look at it in isolation, for a centre forward goal poacher, pace, decent, physically strong, good finishing, but he's not brilliant on the ball. His balance sucks. His attack awareness is too low. So I think as a version of Darwin Núñez, I don't think many people will be too excited about this one. If you like the guy, you've never had a featured version, then for that reason alone, you might be pleased to get it. But outside of that, yes, he's got qualities. I'm not going to deny that. He's not a terrible card, but just in some ways he's not brilliant, especially the awareness. And compared to his GP card, I just don't know what they're doing really. So to me, this is not a great version of Núñez. And now things start to get interesting because we have got Super Sub Vinny. So, starting with the skills this time, Vinícius Júnior, they've given him Super Sub, they've given him Pinpoint Crossing, and they've given him First Time Shot. We've lost Sombrero, Acrobatic Finishing, and Heel Trick, so a bit of a shame losing some of those, but some good ones added. We've still got a bunch of skill moves. The dribblers are still going to find this guy a lot of fun on the ball, but a bit of end product there towards the bottom, and a Super Sub as well. Very interesting. So, how does it compare to previous versions? We had a couple of Showtime cards of Vinny that are obviously better than this one. We've had two Player of the Week ones that are both down as a centre forward. This one can play as a centre forward. He's got that now. But those two previous ones were down as a centre forward. There was a regular Player of the Week one that had a booster. That was better than this one. And there was a Champions League Player of the Week one. And that was a bit better with finishing, kicking power. Yeah, mainly finishing and kicking power compared to this one, but this one does have a bit more balance and passing compared to the Champions League one. So Champions League one, pretty comparable. But the previous booster, kind of regular Player of the Week one, I would say was better than this one. There is a version of Vinny in the point store, as I briefly showed you at the start of this. This one compared to the one from the point store, if you train the one in the point store with auto allocation, this one's a bit slower, a bit less kicking power, a bit worse on the ball, but he has more balance passing and shooting. But if you kind of retrain the one in the point store and try to make them similar, you can make it virtually identical to this one. So if you try to make them the same, the one in the point store can be made to be pretty much the same as this one. But the one attribute that is different is that this one has much better lofted pass. I'm not sure how significant that is, to be honest. So if you're not too bothered about crossing, if you could try and get this guy, you don't get him, you've got the one in the point store, and it's on the whole, it's pretty similar. Comparing it to his GP card. So compared to the GP version of Vinny Jr., we've lost a little bit of speed, acceleration, and kicking power. We've lost 5 off dribbling, 4 off tight possession. Why? But we've had a boost on low pass, on balance, and most importantly, they've increased his lofted pass by 17. So lofted pass up by 17, that goes up to 83, and they've added pinpoint crossing. So we've got a Vinny Jr. that can cross. Sadly, he can't play on the right. He's a right footer, so you're going to be cutting inside, or cutting back and putting in-swinging crosses in, although he does have outside curler, so you might be able to put some crossing with the outside of your boot down the left wing as well. But yeah, you've got a Vinny Jr. that can cross, but he can shoot as well. 82 finishing, first time shot. It's a shame he's not got long range curler. His long range curlers could be pretty nice, but he doesn't have long range curler. But shooting in general, decent. Low pass is going to hit 80 with the game plan boost, and we've got through passing as well. Very nice in the ball, very good attacking awareness, prolific winger as he usually is. Yeah, it's like I say, it's not the best version of Vinny. We've had a couple of showtimes as the Player of the Week striker with the booster that I think was better than this one. But ultimately, it's a pretty decent looking version of Vinny, I think, to be honest. The fact that they've really boosted off the passing and pinpoint crossing, that makes him a bit different to previous versions. And adding first time shot and super sub, I think those two skills are very nice skills for them to have added. So yeah, maybe it's not the best version of Vinny, but I think it's certainly a pretty fun one, an interesting one. To be able to have a super sub version of him could be a pretty effective one. So yeah, this for me is a pretty decent card, very decent in fact. And we finish up with Wako Jacko from Chelsea. So our last booster, goal poacher as always, centre forward. Pretty similar to his previous Player of the Week without the boost. When we get the boost, he will be a bit better. That previous Player of the Week, though, had first time shot. This one doesn't. That's really frustrating. You got a Player of the Week centre forward, and they've not even given him first time shot. That's cruel. They have given him through passing, outside curler, and fighting spirit. So, okay, a few decent skills they've added there. He's got acrobatic finishing, soul control's nice, cut behind scissors feint, alright, but not giving him first time shot is a real shame. It's a bit of a spoiler that, because it's such an important skill, but like I say, similar to the previous player of the week before the boost. When we get the boost, what do we get? Okay, we get more awareness, more ball control, more finishing, great, and more acceleration. Okay, so it's a pretty decent looking version of Jackson. There was a trainable version. I don't know when that was. I think it was in one of those legend packs. It was also in that the kind of 100 player pack when the update came out, where we got the free spins from contract renewals. That trainable one's similar to this, but this one's got much better passing, and that trainable one had much better balance. And it also had a couple more positions. You could play him as a number 10 behind the attacker if you ever wanted to do that with Nicolas Jackson for some strange reason. You compare this one to the GP version. We've lost a bunch of balance, but other than that, it's a pretty good boost on the whole, really. And like I say, a few decent skills added, but if they're not going to give him first time shot, and even maybe the A form boost, you're not quite going to get the attacking mercs to 90 with your game plan boost. So yeah, kind of frustrating, mainly because of the first time shot, but in fairness, the speed and acceleration both going past 90 with the game plan boost on a goal poacher. We do finally have a goal poacher with pace. I was hoping we get Makoiko actually in player of the week, but they didn't put him in. But this is a very pacey goal poacher. He's got a bit of physical contact. He's got some decent on the ball attributes, although tight possession is poor, balance is poor. So yeah, when you're on the ball with this guy, you could find when you start kind of twisting and turning, if you're under pressure from defenders, he might be a little bit frustrating. Passing decent for a centre forward, and they're giving him through passing, so that's a positive. And the finishing great, going past 90 with the game plan boost. It's a shame his attacking awareness, even on A form, doesn't quite get to 90. So there's one or two frustrations there, and the biggest of them all is the lack of first time shot. But apart from all of that, it is a good version of Jackson. So I think for quite a few people, this could be a pretty nice card to pick up, but there are frustrations with it, which is a bit of a shame. So there is your worldwide player of the week selection for this week. As I mentioned, I'll be doing the Champions League one next. I'm going to get straight onto that one after this video, so that should be going up in the very near future. Keep your eyes out for that. For this pack, I don't know. I kind of feel like it's decent. There are some decent cards in there. It just they've just not really done some players justice, really. Something like what they've done with Núñez, I just think is weird. They just haven't made him as good, anywhere near as good as they could have done if they did think he was worthy of player of the week, which I wasn't sure he was. I don't think anyone can deny it's a fun-looking Vinny card, Super Sub Vinny. I think a lot of people will be very, very pleased with that. Jackson, they could have done better with him. Lack of first-time shot is the big shame for me. Gyökeres, finally they put him in, but they certainly could have made him a bit better. Decent De Gea card, to be fair. I think it's a pretty interesting-looking Maddison card. Torre looks alright. Rowe, I mean, what they've done compared to his GP card, again, is weird. I don't think it's a particularly amazing card. Mertens, okay. Mertens fans will be quite pleased with that one. Teze, nah, usable right back, but not perfect. And then Gabbia, they've really done him dirty. He deserved to be significantly better than that, in my opinion, especially defensively. So, yeah, there's one or two decent cards in there. I think Vinny, Maddison, De Gea, for me, probably the three best cards in the pack. And outside of that, yeah, not a lot to get excited about, in all honesty. So, yeah, I'll finish up with my free spin. There's no one I'm particularly keen for. I guess Vinny would be the one for me. I wouldn't mind another De Gea, to be honest, so I can use him in the Italian League Challenge. I think I've only really got Maignan and Sommer for the Italian League Challenge, so yeah. I'd say De Gea is #1 target. Otherwise, Vinny, who are we getting? Not Maddison, is it? Yeah, he's not my thing. I like a bit more pace from my players, so yeah. Bit of GP at least, I guess. So there you go. There's your regular player of the week review. Champions League review will be coming up next. That should be live on the channel in the next couple of hours or something like that. So keep your eyes out for that. Cheers for watching this one. Hope you found it useful. Let me know who you spun. Let me know what you think of the pack. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you soon.